Children, the next topic for today's class is Kara. So here, this Kara is a representative species of the class Chlorophyceae. So here you are going to study one member of the class Chlorophyceae, Kara. So class Chlorophyceae, order Carales, family Caraceae, genus Kara. Kara is commonly called as stonewort. Now, why it is called as a stonewort? Because in these species, you can find in the Kara, you can find calcium and magnesium deposits are present there. As a result, it is called as stonewort. It is a submerged aquatic freshwater algae growing attached to the mud of the lakes. So here this alga Kara is a algae which grows fixed in the mud, okay, and they are the freshwater algae and they are submerged type. They do not grow above the water level, they are found below the water level. They are found attached to the mud of the lakes and slow running streams. Kara baltica grows in saline water. So among Kara, only one species is a species which grows in the saline water. The thallus is often encrusted with calcium and magnesium carbonate. So here in this plant body you can find calcium and magnesium carbonate deposits. The structure of the thallus, structure of the Kara plant body we can study here. The plant body is multicellular, macroscopic and is differentiated into main axis and rhizoids. In the plant body of Kara, we can find it has a main axis and at the base it has the root-like structure that is called the rhizoids. The rhizoids are thread-like multicellular structures arise from the lower part of the thallus or peripheral cells of the lower node. So peripheral cells means with the cells which is present in the outermost region of the lowest node. We can find these rhizoids or root-like structures they are arising. They are characterized by the presence of oblique septa. Okay, so here also these rhizoids they have septa cross wall formation. The rhizoids fix the main axis on the substratum and helps in the absorption of salts and solutes. Now here you can see the diagram of Kara here. In this diagram you can see figure 2.8. So here you can see this is the structure of Kara. So here you can see they have elongated axis, that is the main axis is present there. Below from the lowest node of the main axis arises the rhizoids. Okay, on this main axis you can find there are branches are present there. So that is what we have studied. The aerial part there and that is the shoot, they are branched structure we have studied. In this you can find there are branches of two types of branches are there. Branches of limited growth and branches of unlimited growth. Okay, the shoot of limited growth and shoot of unlimited growth. The shoot of limited growth they arise from a region that is called the nodes. Okay, the shoot of limited growth they arise from the nodal region. Okay, and the space between the two nodes that is called as the internodes, or you can say the shoot of unlimited growth that is the internode. Clear? So here from the nodes only limited growth shoot arise and the gap between the two nodes that is the internodes, or that region we call it as shoot of unlimited growth. And on the shoot of limited growth there are some nodes, small bud-like structures are present. They are called as stipuloids. Okay, they are called as the stipuloids. So here you can just remember the Kara habit. So here we have studied the Kara structure of Kara habit we have studied. It is having a multicellular macroscopic structure. So this we can see with our naked eyes, and it is differentiated. The plant body is differentiated into a main axis and the rhizoids. Okay, and on the rhizoids we have studied they are the thread-like structures. They are multicellular and they arise from the lower part of the thallus. Okay, that is the lower node of the thallus. From lower node of the main axis this thallus is arising and they are having septas. And these rhizoids what they do, they fix the plant, they fix this alga to the to particular place, as well as it helps in the absorption of the salts and the solutes. Next you can see here it is the main axis. It is branched, long, and it is differentiated into nodes and internodes. So already I have told you. So here how it is. This main axis, it is branched structure, and on this branched structures you can find it has the node region and the internodal region. From the nodal region only the shoot of limited growth arises. Okay, and the space between, the gap between the two nodes, that is called as the internodes, or it is also called as the shoot of unlimited growth. So here we will be studying about the characteristics of the main axis. The main axis is branched, long, and is differentiated into nodes and internodes. The internode is made up of an elongated cell in the center, and that is called the axial cell or internodal cell. So internodal cell is having only one elongated cell, and that is called as the axial cell or internodal cell. The axial cell is surrounded by a vertically elongated small cells which originate from the node. So here in the nodal region, this from this axial cell arises vertically elongated small cells. They are called as the cortical cells. Okay, so internode is made up of elongated cell, that is called the axial cell. This axial cell is surrounded by vertically elongated small cells which arise in the nodal region, that is called as the cortical cells. So in Cara Walchi and Cara Corallina, the cortical cells, they are absent. So here you can find the nodes, the shoot of limited growth will be absent in this species. Three types of appendages arises from the node. So as I already showed you in the diagram, so there are three outgrowths. Appendages means outgrowths that are found on the main axis. They are branches of limited growth, branches of unlimited growth, and stipuloids. The growth of the main axis and its branching takes place by the apical cell. The nodal cells, they are uninucleate with few ellipsoidal chloroplasts. So that is the difference between, you are going to study between the nodal cell and the internodal cell. The nodal cells, they are uninucleate, has only one nucleus with ellipsoidal chloroplast. So inside that cell you have the elliptical or disc shaped chloroplast is present there. Whereas in the internodal cells, they are elongated and possess a large central vacuole. So here we have studied nodal cells, they are uninucleate and they have ellipsoidal chloroplast, whereas in the case of the internodal cells, they have elongated and possess a large central vacuole. Okay, their cells are elongated and possess a large central vacuole with many nuclei and numerous discoidal chloroplast is present here. The cytoplasm is divided into outer ectoplasm and inner endoplasm. The endoplasm, they show the cytoplasmic streaming. So here the cytoplasm inside the cell, they are divided into ectoplasm. Ectoplasm means the cytoplasm towards the periphery, towards the cell membrane. Then inner endoplasm, that is the region towards the center. So here this endoplasm region, they show the movement. The cytoplasm, they show the streaming movement. Next you are going to study about the reproduction in Cara. Reproduction in Cara, they reproduces by vegetative as well as sexual method. Cara reproduces by vegetative and sexual method. Vegetative reproduction takes place by amylum stars. Amylum stars, they are the small the cells which are of star-shaped structure. Multicellular cells, they join together and give a star-shaped structure. Since amylum deposits is present there, they are called as the amylum stars. Next is the root bulbils. That is, in the roots, they develop a spherical bud-like structure. These bulbils or buds, they detach from the Cara plant and they germinate and give rise to the new plant. Next is the amorphous bulbils. Amorphous bulbils, they are the bud-like structure which is present on the shoot of limited growth. Next is secondary protonema. Secondary protonema is obtained. They are the thread-like structures. They are found developed from the primary protonema and or the basal rhizoid, basal cells of the rhizoid. they give rise to the secondary protonema. They also can develop into a new plant. So these are the vegetative methods. Vegetative methods, as we know, they are this is method of reproduction from any vegetative part which is already present in the parent plant. That part is developing into a new plant body. So here vegetative reproduction yesterday it takes place either by amylum stars, or by root bulbils, or by amorphous bulbils, or they are secondary protonema. Next, sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is oogamous type. Okay, so here as we already know, oogamous, that is both physiologically and morphologically dissimilar gametes they fuse together. So sex organs, they are macroscopic. So these sex organs also they can be seen with the naked eyes and are produced on the branches of limited growth. You remember the diagram of the Kara habit. So we have from the nodes where arises the branches of limited growth. So in the base of this limited growth shoots only these sex organs are developed. The male sex organ is called as antheridium, or it is also called as globule. The male sex organ of Kara is called as antheridium, or specific name is globule. And the female sex organ is called as the oogonium, or it is also called as the nucleus. You can see here in this diagram the Kara sex organs you can see. So here nodal regions are there, internodes are there. From the nodal region arises the lateral shoots, okay, of limited growth. At the base of this shoots of limited growth only this sex organs you can find. So here you can see on the spherical structure, okay, that is called as the globule, okay, an elongated structure that is called as the nucleus. Globule is the male sex organ and nucleus is the female sex organ. So here the male sex organ is called as the antheridium or globule, and the female sex organ is called as the oogonium or nucleus. The nucleus is located above the globule. The antheridium is spherical, macroscopic, and its wall is made up of 8 cells, and they are called as the shield cells. The antheridium has spermatogenous filaments. Okay, so here as we have studied this antheridium, they are spherical, macroscopic, and they have the inside the wall they have the 8 cells. They are called the shield cells, and these shield cells they have spermatogenous filaments are present there, and these filaments they produce the anthrazoids. Anthrazoids is the male gamete. Okay, so here what we have studied, that is inside the antheridium there are shield cells. These shield cells they have the spermatogenous filament is present. Numerous filaments arise from these shield cells. They are called as spermatogenous filaments. These filaments they produce the anthrazoids, that is the male gamete. The nucleus is covered by 5 spirally twisted tube cells. So 5 cells they surrounds the nucleus, and the 5 coronal cells are present at the top of the nucleus. The center of the nucleus possesses a single egg. So in the center of this nucleus there is only one single egg is present. At maturity, the tube cells separate and narrow slit is formed. So when this nucleus matures, a small split is formed. Okay, and the anthrazoids they penetrate the oogonium. Okay, and one of them fuses with the egg to form a diploid oospore. So here as we studied, anthrazoids the male gamete, they enter inside the oogonium, that is the nucleus, and one of them fuses with the egg. One of the anthrazoid fuses with the egg and they form a diploid oospore. Okay, this oospore secretes a thick wall around and germinates after a resting period. So after after the fusion of the anthrazoids and the egg, these oospores they develop a thick wall around it, and they have a short rest period before the germination. The nucleus of the oospores they divide to form 4 haploid daughter nuclei, of which 3 degenerate. Now here this oospore is a diploid structure. Okay, anthrazoids and the egg they fuse together and they form the diploid structure. Now this diploid oospore will undergo meiosis division and will produce 4 haploid. Okay, this diploid oospore will undergo meiosis division and produce 4 haploid daughter nuclei. Okay, out of this 4 haploid daughter nuclei, 3 will degenerate. Okay, only one remains, and that will germinate, that oospore will germinate and it will give rise to the haploid protonema. Okay, and the plant body of Chara is haploid, and the oospore is the only diploid phase in the life cycle. Therefore, the life cycle is of haplontic type. Alteration of generation is also seen here. So, here we have seen in this, that is what is happening. The anthracoid fuses with the egg, they form the diploid oospore. This diploid oospore undergo meiosis division to produce 4 haploid daughter nuclei. Out of this 4 haploid, 3 will destroy, 3 will degenerate, only one remains, that oospore will germinate and they will give rise to a haploid protonema. So, in the life cycle of Chara, only the oospore is in the diploid condition, the remaining phase of the plant, it is in the haploid condition. So, this cycle is called as a haplontic. So, here also we can find the alteration of generation is seen here. Now, this you can see here the life cycle of Chara. So, here you can see on the top it is given the different methods of asexual reproduction. So, here we have studied secondary protonema, amorphous bulbils, then bulbils, that is the root bulbils, and the amylum stars. These are the different methods of vegetative reproduction. Okay, next the sexual reproduction, as we have studied, the Chara, they will produce the globule, the sex organs, the globule and the nucleus. Okay, next globule is the male reproductive organ, nucleus is the female. This globule produces the male gamete anthracoid, and the nucleus will produce the egg. This anthracoid and the egg both are haploid, they fuse together, fertilization, a zygote or the oospore is formed, which is diploid. This oospore immediately after a distinct period undergo meiosis and produce 4 haploid spores. So, only the zygote or the oospore condition is a diploid, remaining again what is happening, out of the this oospore undergo meiosis division produce 4 haploid spores. Out of this 4, 3 will degenerate, only one remains, and that one it will germinate and give rise to the protonema that will develop into the new Chara body. So, hope you have understood the characteristics of the Chara and the life cycle of the Chara. You have understood, children. Thank you.